This is the Bengals Pulse, the heartbeat of our victorious Cincinnati Bengals.
Can't miss player. I really do. A lot of people think I'm crazy. I think when he gets on the field, he's going to produce. He's going to produce at a high level.
They are almost unbeatable in December and January.
We're on another level. Thank you.
And I am going to become the first Bengals broadcaster to call a Super Bowl title. It's happening.
Yes.
It's happening this year.
In a row, Mon. 10 in a row.
Hooday, Bengal fans. He is Mon, Eric. I am Jake. This is the Bengals Pulse, the heartbeat of our Cincinnati Bengals, as we are now in full mode, off-season mode, that is, for our Cincinnati Bengals. Tonight, we have the exit interviews. Mon and I are going to be giving this Bengals team their exit interviews. Speaking of exits, again, you guys know I am not one to toot my own horn. I hate doing that. Absolutely hate it. I'm known for being humble. That's what I'm most known for.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I know, Eric, you were trying to find it. Jake's hot take, I think it was about 2 weeks ago on this show. Go back and look at it. Jake's hot take. I said Zach Taylor will be the only coach left standing in the AFC North when this season ends, and he's probably the first one that should have got fired. Mon, your boy, Mike Tomlin. What's going on, man? How you doing? You good, Mon?
I am good. A lot of information. I've been trying to process this. Zach Taylor has become the elder statesman of the AFC North. And
God,
I don't know, man. We're going to talk about that and talk about our Bengals, but I tell you, I'm just it's going to be interesting to see who the Ravens and Steelers hire. Their blue blood franchises, their ownership group is they're going to spend money, and I think the top of the top candidates are going to get one of them. So we'll see how that shakes out, and we got a lot to talk about.
How funny is it, real quick, guys? How funny is it that I just read this before we went on the show? Zach Taylor is tied for 5th.
I was going to say that.
Were you going to say that, Eric? He's tied for 5th as far as longest tenured head coaches in the NFL. Zach Taylor is tied for 5th. What the shit? He's had 2 winning seasons. What are we doing? Eric, how you good? Sorry for stealing your thunder.
I was going to throw that out there. He is the elder statesman in the NFL. All these rookie coaches call Zach Taylor when you want to know how to almost win a game. Almost. Because he'll sure as fire tell you how to almost win a game.
We got to be careful. A lot of fanboys out there. A lot of Zach Taylor fanboys.
Listen, look at our room. I am a Bengals fan. I don't give a shit about Zach Taylor. If he gets me a Super Bowl next year, I'll acknowledge he's going to be the coach until I'm y'all's age.
Wait a minute. You're not
Jake's got Jake's got a big one coming up, so I got to toss those out until that big one hits. Yeah.
Mine and I are in different age brackets right now. I got to live these moments up.
There's only one person on this screen that has advanced genetics. You're looking at him.
I don't know. You guys talk about taking a lot of medicine. Just supplements is all you need.
I want to know how do you think Heather gets around in that house with there being so much shit?
The doors are extra large because his head is inflated so much with this advanced
I am so
genetics.
glad she's not watching the show right now. That's not cool.
So let's we got a lot to talk about. It is kind of crazy, guys, when you think about this whole scenario and all of these different coaches that are out there. Obviously, Mike Tomlin is not available, Mon, because of the situation of he didn't get fired. He walked away, so now he's still considered under contract. So if somebody wants him, they have to trade for him. But still, what an incredible crop of coaches that are becoming available right now. It is going to be interesting to see. You said it earlier, Mon. Ravens and Steelers. What do you think? I mean, this move now from the Steelers, obviously 3 new head coaches in the AFC North. I think number one, Zach Taylor has no more excuses, right? I mean, you are, if you can't win a division against 3 brand new head coaches, there is something definitely wrong. But how do you see this whole head coaching situation shaking out, Mon? Do you think these teams are going to bring in new head coaches, new blood, or are we going to see some guys recycled? What do you think?
That's a great question. I think the Ravens and the Steelers are 2 elite front offices. They've had a lot of success over the years. Yes, they are going to be very aggressive finding their coach. The Pittsburgh Steelers have had 3 coaches since 1969. 3 coaches since 1969. They're going to find a young coach in his 30s that's going to come in and hopefully, well, they're hoping that he stays another 15, 20 years like some of these other coaches. Ravens, their owner, Steve Biscotti, listen, it doesn't always work out. They go out and sign players. They sign people to mega contracts. They trade players that they know they can't keep and accumulate draft picks. They're very aggressive with their front office, their general managers. Doesn't always work out, but at least they try that. They are going to go out and they're going to find elite level coaches to come in and coach their organizations. That's one thing about them. They are not going to, they're going to be aggressive. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers are a small market like ours. Look what they did before the trade deadline. They got Kyle Duggar. They went out and they traded for DK Metcalf. I understand they got destroyed last night in that playoff game. I get it. But, man, they're making moves. They're trying to improve that team. Their problem is they don't have a quarterback. And I don't care who their coach is. I hope they just don't get a quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm with you. I think, again, with all these new head coaches coming in, it's going to be very interesting. The Mike Tomlin thing, and this was my thing 2 weeks ago when I made the comment about, if the Steelers lose, Mike Tomlin's going to be gone. Guys, that was Mike Tomlin's 7th straight playoff loss. He tied Marvin Lewis, who I love Marvin. Don't get me wrong. I love Marvin and what he did for the program. But he now ties Marvin Lewis for the most consecutive playoff losses in a row in NFL history. 7 straight playoff losses. I think you look at Harbaugh and you see a guy who literally pissed away 3 years in a row, possibly the best NFL roster, right? And then Kevin Stefanski. I mean, obviously the Browns they're just dog shit. So, I'm really not shocked by it. I'm not shocked by it at all. I do find it kind of interesting. Somebody talked about today. I can't remember who it was. Sorry if I can't remember, but somebody posted something today about, Zach Taylor's playoff, how many playoff games he's won compared to the other 3. And it was an interesting stat. It was Jeremy Roush. Jeremy Roush from Fox 19. He said the Bengals have more playoff wins, 5, than the rest of the AFC North combined since Joe Burrow was drafted in 2020. So that right there, guys, I think explains these coaching changes. Going to be very interesting to see, guys, where some of these coaches end up. I would say Harbaugh is definitely going to be somewhere else, and I think Stefanski will be somewhere else. I think those 2 guys will still be head coaches in this league next year. It's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah, and one big note, not just so we've got our whole division's got new coaches, but there's a lot of new coaches around the league. There's even talk that the Philly might move on just because of how bad some of their performances was and some of that chatter on the sideline. But this is one thing the Bengals can capitalize on next year's schedule. We will play 9 games against teams with new head coaches, either
Yeah.
first time or new. You guys think that's going to impact us? Mon, you got some thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do. I just wanted to follow up on the coaching vacancies in the AFC North, but yeah, about that stat, I did see that on Twitter about 9. They're going to play 9 teams are going to have first year coaches. Somebody mentioned it was a great tweet. Hey, Zach Taylor lost to Mayo, the head coach of the Patriots 2 years ago. Okay,
Yeah.
and he was a first year head coach. I'm not trying to be negative. That's definitely something that's going to help the Bengals. Because let's face it, the new coach for the Steelers, new coach for the Ravens, new coach for all these other teams, they're going to come in. And what are they? They're going to try to find an identity. There's going to be some growing pains there, so hopefully we can take advantage of it. I just want to say this: I don't think Zach Taylor. He catches a lot of flack from me, everybody on this show, a lot of fans. He's not the worst coach in the NFL. He is not. Okay, but I will say this: I think he was the worst coach in the AFC North. We can say what we want about Stefanski. Stefanski was 2-time, coach of the year with the Browns. Okay. And what he did there with that organization, the way they operate, they spend money, but I don't know, but they spend stupid money and it doesn't help that team. It's like they're the bizarro opposite of the Bengals. But I think he was the worst coach in the AFC North. I'm sorry, fanboys. I'm sorry, Zach Taylor fanboys. That's a certified fact.
Yeah, you don't win because of him. You win in spite of him, and that's not what you want out of your coach. Pretty frustrating.
Let me ask you guys this: What is more crazy? What is more crazy? That Zach Taylor is the only head coach in the AFC North that didn't get fired. Okay, that's the first one. That's your first choice. So is it more crazy that Zach Taylor is the only one left standing in the AFC North, or is it more crazy that Zach Taylor is the only head coach that didn't get fired this year that lost to the Jets? Which one's more crazy, Mon? That he's the last man standing in the North, he's now the king of the North, or he's the only head coach that did not get fired that lost to the shitty Jets? Which one's crazy?
I did not know that stat.
Yeah.
That alone should have been a termination right there earlier in the season. To me, that was an inexcusable – that was a catastrophic loss.
Yeah.
That was absolutely – they were winless. They had the worst offense in football. I think they ended up with over 500 yards total offense against us. That was a certified train wreck. That was horrible.
And not one interception, Mon. Their defense didn't have one interception in 17 games.
That was a shit show. But, man, I sort of want – I'm trying to look forward. I got my little fidget toy. I got my fidget toy. I'm looking forward. Come on.
Listen, I did not have Mon pulling out a fidget spinner.
That was not on my bingo card. That was not on my bingo card, yeah.
But now he's going to be inundated with it because my kids don't use those anymore. So we're bringing them all Mon's way. Yeah, so I don't know. It's interesting times. There could be more firings as we go on here. Silly season's begun.
I can't really imagine there's anyone left in the playoffs. I can't imagine anyone left in the playoffs, getting fired. I don't see anyone left there. But man, it's definitely some good. I know we'll talk about those at the end and do our picks, but some good matchups, some really good matchups, especially in the NFC. I like the NFC matchups this weekend.
So I got one question for you guys before we get to our Bengals exit interview. My son Austin made a comment earlier today, and I want to get you guys' opinion on it. He said, Dad, do you agree? I think Mike Tomlin is just Marvin Lewis who lucked into one Super Bowl. What do you guys think? What are the comparisons between Lewis and Tomlin? I mean, they both lost how many straight playoff games? It's pretty close.
I will say this. Let me say this real quick. I think Mike Tomlin, he gets a lot of credit for not having a losing season in 19 years, which that's impressive. However, I have friends that are Steeler fans that are like, listen, Jake, a lot of those years we won 8 and 9 games and it screwed up our draft. 3 of those 19 years he was 8-8. So I'm going to agree that I think Mike Tomlin, I think he's a little overrated. I'm going to be honest. I know Mon's not going to agree with me here. I'm not saying he's not a good coach, but he had some really good football teams and didn't do shit with them. The Super Bowl he won, that was Bill Cowher's leftovers. So I'm not really sure what Mike Tomlin really accomplished on his own. And I don't want that to sound like I don't think he's not a good coach, because that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I do think he gets a little bit more credit than credit's deserved. I don't know. That's my take. Mom, what do you think?
That's a great question. I don't disagree with you, though. I just look at it this way. Marvin Lewis, who I'm a big fan of, I appreciate everything he did. We talk about the 0-7 playoff record, and it's bad. I mean, it's not good. But I look at it this way. In primetime games, Marvin Lewis was atrocious. I think he was 11-31 in primetime games.
It was something like that.
Yeah, it's just he could not get his team ready to play in the spotlight. And I mean, that was one hell of a sample size. I'm not that far off. 11-30, 11-32.
Yeah, you're close. You're close.
And that's one hell of a sample size. That's 40 plus games. And his teams were not ready in big moments there. Playoffs, yeah, we get it. And so on NFL Network, they were comparing his playoff record to Tomlin. And I think they said some things that weren't fair. I mean, that year the Bengals went 5 consecutive years in the playoffs of Andy Dalton. They were only favored one time. They were underdogs in 4 of those 5. So, hey, they're in the playoffs. They're supposed to win. You're in the dance. And they didn't, give out all the facts and add that data there. But Mike Tomlin is this. Listen, I get it, 7 consecutive playoff losses. Ben Roethlisberger's last year as a Steeler, to me, that was the worst playoff team I've ever seen in the history of professional sports. They were terrible. He got that team to the playoffs. Mike Tomlin did. Mike Tomlin, yeah, I get it. His record is what it is. You're right about Cowher's players, but he maximized the talent on that roster. Sometimes on defense, he had some Hall of Famers. On offense, I don't know, man. Some of these guys really, Le'Veon Bell, I get it. They've had some superstars, but over the last 6 or 7 years, he maximized every ounce of talent out of every player. That's what I want from the Bengals. And that's why I salute him, because was it 2023? He started 4 different quarterbacks. 4 different quarterbacks, 17-game season, they went to the playoffs. They got smoked. But still, that's impressive to get a team that has, you don't know who your quarterback is, you don't know who this is, whatever. And I salute him for that, because he was just really good at just getting the most out of every player.
What's really impressive, guys, is I think I sent this text out to you guys. Is it not impressive what again, coaching is so important, right? Coaching it just makes such a huge difference. Is it not impressive what the 49ers are doing right now? I mean, this team has lost everybody, right? I mean, you're talking about all pro players on both sides of the ball, and this team just went on the road and beat the Super Bowl champs. Now, I know the Eagles are not who they were last year, but man, coaching matters, guys. And the 49ers play in the best division in football. The NFC West has become the top cream of the crop. You have three teams, guys, out of 4 in the playoffs still, in the final 4, all coming from the NFC West. I think,
Jake, you can make an argument that the head coaches of those 3 teams are tops in the NFL.
I would say they are.
Yeah,
I definitely think McVay and Shanahan, I think those 2 are 1 and 2. I think they are 1 and 2 in the NFL. I do.
I agree. I totally agree.
I don't know if
with
it's close. I don't even know if it's close. I don't know if 3 is even close to those two.
And, it's not just them. They're set up to succeed. It's about setting people up to succeed. You got to set your team up. You got to set your coaches up. And that starts with the front office. Those guys go out and make plays. They have scouts. They draft players. They acquire players. You got to set your coaching staff up to succeed. When a Fred Warner goes out, your superstars go out. Yeah. You got really decent backups. I mean, of course, the drop-off is going to be significant, but you got players that can come in there. They have some talent. And with that elite coaching staff, they can prop them up and they can still be productive.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. Again, as always, guys, if you like this podcast, please like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. We would so much appreciate it. Eric, is it time? Is it time for us to do our exit interviews? I'm very excited about this.
Let's do
I
it.
think we're anybody that's ever been an employee anywhere and gotten through exit interviews, it's the most exciting time of the day. We're going to hold for a second, though. We got one super chat. Let's get to that real quick. Want to appreciate.
Yeah.
Oh, we got 2 super chats now. Let's get to them before we get moving on, because we do appreciate everybody in here and appreciate the super chats. That dude, Mike, says Bengals need a coach to go into Cincinnati and revitalize that locker room.
Yes.
Look what Ben Johnson did. You could just see how hard his players have played for him. We've been saying that. We just want a coach that can go in there and do that, like McVay, an Andy Reid, somebody that can come in there and it's not going to happen because the Bengals are going to win the Super Bowl this year. Zach Taylor's your coach until he wants to step down. Sorry, guys. That's my optimism rolled into a little bit of womp womp.
Thank
Another
you.
one here
Thank
from
you, Mike. Appreciate you.
Yes.
Another one here from 513 Art Dog. We appreciate it. John Lynch versus Duke Tobin. Lynch playing in the NFL. Tobin played high school football. You see the difference. I don't know. Is that the big difference? I mean, Duke Tobin is kind of like Mike Brown. He sat behind his dad for many, many years.
Yeah.
Mike Brown sat behind Paul Brown. Obviously they have football knowledge, but it is different than playing. What do you guys think about that?
I think, and I don't know if I don't know what Mon thinks about this, but I just think the way that Lynch carries himself is so much more of a leader than Duke Tobin. Like, have you guys ever felt when Duke Tobin speaks, do you hear any type of leadership? I mean, I don't see leadership from Duke Tobin. I see that from John Lynch. John Lynch is in front of the cameras. He's holding people accountable. He's holding himself accountable all the time. He's on the sideline. He's going ape shit crazy. I just see a guy who absolutely is passionate and loves his team. And I don't see the same from Duke Tobin. I don't know if it matters so much where they played football because, like you said, Duke Tobin comes from, Bill Tobin is one of the most respected GMs to ever step foot in the NFL. Like his dad, he comes from a good pedigree, but I don't see the leadership that I see from John Lynch. Mon, what do you think?
No, I mean, I of course, the playing career of John Lynch, the ultra competitive Super Bowl champion with the Buccaneers, that plays a big part. But guys, I mean, you know what? If we want to break it down, it comes down to management, ownership group. The San Francisco 49ers, their owners they're going to let John Lynch do what he wants. Duke Tobin won't throw Mike Brown under the bus, but Duke Tobin's limited. He has to answer to the ownership group. And we know, like it or not, we know how the Bengals operate. I think they want to win. The Cincinnati Bengals owners, they want to win. They just want to win on their terms with their philosophy that they really believe in. We've been frustrated about it. We want them to do more, but Duke Tobin can only do so much. And I'm not sticking up for Duke because Duke still has to make those choices, those decisions, him and his collective, whatever he said at that press conference. And they haven't been making all those the right decisions. But I think it's a little apples and oranges in the sense that, you have an ownership group up here, then you got the other one down here. And I think it makes a big difference.
Eric, you've got to put that comment up. That is hysterical. Who is that? I don't have my God.
Which
Beef
one?
Henry. B. Henry. Put B. Henry's comment up there. That is perfect, Mon. Look at this.
I see that.
Alpha male fish, first to fish stuck on the side of the tank, clean and poop.
I honestly thought you
I
were laughing
love
at the
you
one.
guys. I love our
I-
listeners. You guys are so good. You're so witty. I love you guys so much.
I thought
It's
I
so
thought it
good.
was I thought it was in this one that you were going to disagree with. It's all in the hair. I think Coach
I'll
Jake's going to
disagree with
take
that.
Duke's side on that all
Yeah,
day.
I'll
I will
disagree with
say,
that.
we talk about games being, one score games, little bit here and a little bit there. I will say, as far as accountability goes, I would be a lot more afraid seeing John Lynch, the all-pro safety, coming at me versus Duke Tobin walking towards me. I don't care if I'm just getting fired. I'd rather be fired by Tobin than John Lynch because I'd be afraid that he's gonna hip chuck me into the next stratosphere. All right, let's get to what everybody's here for, what we came for tonight. We are going to break down the exit interview for the 2025 Bengals. So, guys, 2025 Bengals, very, very underwhelming. I think we can all agree there was some good things. There was hope until there wasn't. So, I want to start you guys first. Let's go over some of the things that went right for the 2025 Bengals. Let's go to Mon first. Why don't you give us a couple thoughts on what went right for us?
Yeah, there's not a lot. I mean, I'm sure we're going to duplicate Jake, and I'm sorry. I'm going to give a couple.
No, go, man.
No, I mean, the weather was really good at Paycor for most of the games. That's a good thing. It really was good stuff.
Good for the Ravens game. The Ravens freezing.
It was really good. No, the offensive line really, I think, surpassed. We wanted them to play better this year. We were hoping they would be a little bit better than they were in 2024. I think they were a lot better. And that started with Dalton Reisner. I mean, somebody that I wasn't crazy about. For 3 years, my ears were bleeding from everybody on Twitter wanting the Bengals to sign him. And they finally did. But he came in and he solidified. I think Amarius Mims really took it to another level. Karras is steady. I mean, I think we need to find a replacement in the future. That's coming up in this draft, I hope. Dylan Fairchild really played well. He had his moments. Orlando Brown is a decent left tackle. I don't think he's elite, but he's not bad. And I think that offensive line played really well, and I hope they continue playing well. And one other thing, I think our cornerbacks, I think we found our two outside corners for the next few years. DJ Turner turned into an all-pro type player, and Dax Hill, when he finally moved him out there due to injuries with Cam Taylor-Britt, Dax Hill held his own. And I think those are two big positives. And going into 2026, that's good for the Bengals.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna start with defense because that's gonna be quick. I agree with Mon. What went right for the Bengals defense? DJ Turner and Dax Hill. The rest of it was dog shit. The coaching was dog shit. The tackling was dog shit. Besides DJ Turner and Dax Hill, the rest of it was absolutely awful. And I know that's going to be our next question. I'll get to that next. I also like that Miles Murphy, I feel, took a step forward. But I'm with you, Mon. DJ Turner, Dax Hill, Cam Taylor-Britt goes down with an injury, and I feel like we have our two corners for a while, and that's good to know.
Yeah, Miles Murphy, you're right. I forgot to mention him. Yeah. He really flashed.
Yeah, I feel like Miles Murphy was a guy that we have been talking about for the last couple of years. Like, when is this dude going to do anything? And this year, after Trey went down, I think Miles Murphy was that guy that stepped into that role. So I really liked what Miles Murphy did. But besides that, everything else about defense was just absolutely atrocious. Offense, I think, is what we can talk about as far as what went right? I mean, Mon already talked about the offensive line. He said it perfectly. There's nothing else to say, right? But I think to take it a step further, I think Chase Brown, to me, was one of, if not the biggest highlight of this season, because you see a back now. I mean, I know he got his first 1,000-yard season, and that's great. But you see a back now that has become extremely well-rounded. I'm going to go back to a guy that I grew up absolutely loving. He's one of my favorite Bengals of all time, and that's James Brooks. And I see so much in Chase Brown. I see James Brooks so much in Chase Brown, and I absolutely love Chase Brown and what he did this year. Almost 1,500 total yards on offense, 11 total touchdowns. He had 70 receptions, right? I mean, that's crazy. I think Chase Brown, there was so much talk when Joe Mixon, and we were obviously very upset about losing Joe. But man, oh man, Chase Brown, we are set at running back. I just absolutely love the guy. He is perfect for Joe Burrow. This year he really took a next step running between tackles. He's become very physical running back. And he's a guy that you can count on now, right? We were a little worried about the fumbles and all that, but I really like Chase Brown. And I think the other thing that I want to talk about is I am so hard on Zach Taylor, which is deservingly so. But I do think it is very impressive that they went out and picked up Joe Flacco, and Joe Flacco came in after only being around the offense for a couple days and lighting it up, right? Playing good enough football to keep us in the playoff hunt. Obviously, our defense shitted that all away. But Joe Flacco's numbers, guys, 13 touchdowns to 4 picks. Joe Burrow's numbers, 17 touchdowns to 5 picks. My point is this passing game has become elite. And if we're going to talk negative about Zach Taylor as a head coach, I'm there with you. But I do think we have to acknowledge the fact that this offense, and maybe some of its pitcher, I don't know, but this offense has become elite. It's become one of the best in football. And to me, I think that's the one shining spot. This is an offense that averaged almost 30 points a game, I think. So those are all, I think, what went right with this Bengals football team. So again, I'll give Zach some flowers for the way the offense played this year.
Fair. I just to counter that real quick, he's the head coach of the football team.
I know.
He oversees the roster. He
I know.
decided to start Jake Browning 2 games after Burrow's injury.
I know.
That's all we got.
I know all that. I know.
He was gifted Flacco. Flacco's a 16-year vet. He knows every system. I listen. The numbers are the numbers. His offensive numbers the last few years, Zach Taylor's has orchestrated and been the leader of a great offensive unit. But at the same time, I think a lot of that has to do with his elite level players, as in Burrow, Chase, and Higgins.
That's
I think, yeah, and I disagree on some of that. But hey, it's cool. You're right, because they're still scoring 40 points, 38 points with a backup quarterback. That is impressive.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could debate Zach Taylor's offensive, how much he contributes to the offense all day long, and we probably will all off season long. There's a lot of talk about situational offense, not just racking up the stat numbers. The only stat that matters is those wins. Let's get to the next thing. Jake's all over this, but what went wrong for the 2025 Bengals? Let's try and keep it to just a few things because a lot went wrong. Jake, why don't you kick us off first?
Okay. I wonder if Mons is going to be the same as mine. Oh God, I don't even know where to start. What went wrong? Let me tell you what went wrong, because we can talk about how shitty this defense was, and every aspect, the pass rush, the tackling, everything that in the NFL should be at least honed in at that point. I want to talk about this football team going into this season with this incredible offense, going into this season with a defensive roster that nobody nobody on this planet thought was going to help this football team win games. Nobody going into this season after the hiring of Al Golden, after the absolutely circus of a draft, passing up elite talent, making the change that we're going to run with these young linebackers, just setting this team up for failure on the defensive side of the ball. I think that honestly sums up what went wrong. We can talk. There's so many little things here and there. I mean, the tackling sucked. There's no pass rush, but the safety play was absolutely the worst in the NFL. But I think it all started in the beginning of the year when Zach Taylor, hired his next door neighbor to be his defensive coordinator and went out, used the number one pick on a guy who was not proven at the college level, and relied on this defense to help this offense win football games. That is what went wrong for the 2025 Bengals. Was in the beginning of the year, Duke Tobin, this front office, Zach Taylor, everybody that was involved in putting this defense together absolutely shit the bed. And it cost us another season of going to the playoffs. Mon?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to repeat a lot of the things you said, but to me, it started in March of 2025. They dropped the ball. The 2024 defense was one of the worst defenses in football over the last 5 years. And what did they do? They go TJ Slayton, Oren Burke, and they ended up drafting a couple rookie linebackers in April. They did not do enough. Zach Taylor admitted that. Duke Tobin admitted that at his press conference just last week. We need more talent on that side of the ball. The collective, the decision makers, Duke, the coaches, the front office, whoever's he said it's a group of people that make the decision, which, was bonkers to me. You're not getting it done. The collective, when they analyze, like right now, the Bengals, the coaches and everybody, they're analyzing every game. They're going through each player. They're ranking them. They're trying to figure out, what's good and what's bad. Well, they did that last year. They did that in 2024 at the completion of that season. And what did they do? They felt like they didn't need to do anything in free agency because they were on a 5-game winning streak, the dead cat bounce. Mm-hmm. I'm just telling you, they did not set up this coaching staff and this organization to succeed because they started 2 rookie linebackers. They were depending on a lot of unproven young talent that Lou Anarumo didn't play. Some took off, Miles Murphy, DJ Turner, Dax Hill. They finally started playing. But some of these other guys just weren't ready. Chris Jenkins, I'm sorry, he's still a project. McKinley Jackson didn't get to play until, week 7, 8, 9 of the season. Some of these guys are still trying to figure things out. And they thought that was acceptable. Guess what? Statistically, the 2025 defense was worse than the 2024. So I'm going to blame the front office. The front office, that's what went wrong. They didn't set up this organization to succeed. And part of the front office is the coaching staff. Because Duke said it. It's a collective. We all talk about this stuff. So Zach Taylor and his coaches are quasi-scouts.
Yes.
They're decision makers.
Yes.
So it's not just on Duke. And I'm not here to stick up for Duke. Duke, I wish he was fired. I hate to say that. I think they need to move on. But obviously that's not going to happen. But he said it, the collective. There's a group of decision makers. Well, that group effed up. And guess what? We got a 6-win season. All right, we can talk about injuries. We could talk about all that stuff. I'm sorry. I don't like talking about that because you know what? Coaches are supposed to, squeeze every ounce of talent out of every player.
That's right.
And that's on the coaches. And when Joe Flacco scores 42, 38 and loses, that's not, I'm sorry. You mentioned Zach Taylor. That's a hell of a job by him. That defense still couldn't find a way to get one stop to win those games. Think about that.
With Zach Taylor, again, like I said, Mon, I want to make sure I'm very clear about the Zach Taylor flowers. That was for offensively what he did. You are 100% right. He is the head football coach of this team. and he is the head football coach first. And if you can't walk and chew gum, if you can't be the offensive coordinator and be successful and be a head coach and be successful at the same time, you can't do both. And I think that's it. That's where we're at with Zach Taylor. I believe that's what Zach Taylor and Duke Tobin, you can say what you want to about them, but both of them basically came out and said, we believe in this coaching staff. We believe in this team. I mean, hell, Duke Tobin said, they asked him, did you feel like you had a championship roster going into the season? He said, yes. I'm looking at the defensive roster right now. There is no way in hell that Duke Tobin thought this defense was going to get us 10, 11 wins. There's no way in hell. No way in hell.
Yeah, you're right. I want people to understand something. You know, the way this offense played in 2024 and games this year, it should have never come down to a fumble or a missed kick or something. We should have led the NFL in double-digit wins. That's how dominant our offense was. You know, and that's what frustrates me. If our defense was bad, we'd have 4 more wins. Okay? And I mean, I'm not trying to shit on the defense, because after that bye, they did look a lot better against some good teams and against some quarterbacks that, you know, are starting their first game. They're supposed to win those games that went 1-1. Yeah. But the defense did look better. I get it. But this front office did not set this organization up to succeed. They did not. They dropped the ball. They won't admit it, but I think deep down inside, they know they effed up.
Agreed.
Yeah, we argue all day long, but Zach Taylor needs to learn how to be a head coach, not an offensive coordinator. Moving on to our next exit interview question. This is going to focus on the players, and I'm not talking about the future players. I'm talking about the players that are on the 2025 team. What could the players that are on our team, we have nobody being added, what could our 2025 players do to improve and to get us over the hump? I know we talk all day long, we need new players, but the guys that we had, what could they have done to improve and make this team better? Mon?
You know, I mean, this is just a, you know, simplistic way to look at it. They continue to hone their skills. They got to, you know, go out and bust their ass and learn from, you know, the experience that they got in 2025, become a better player, work out, come in optimal shape. And you know what? I need this team. I need 5, 6 players to become team leaders. I'm talking vocal team leaders. Jake, you said this multiple episodes. I've said it. Eric, you've said it too. The hidden gem of that Super Bowl team was that locker room.
Yes.
Mike Hilton, DJ Reader, Von Bell. These
Jesse
guys
Bates,
were
Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, Tyler Boyd. I mean, absolute stud leadership qualities. Guys that were afraid to lose. They didn't want to lose. They didn't want to disappoint some of these elder players, you know, that came in here and busted their butt. That's what we need, man. We need that leadership. We need that mojo back. I want some of those players to come in the 2026 with that mojo. Like, hey, man, no excuses. We got to win.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I would say an even simpler answer would be learn how to tackle. That would be
what I'm looking for.
If I was the Bengals coach and I'm doing these exit interviews, every defensive player that walked into my room, I would say learn how to tackle. Next.
So let me stop you.
Next.
Let me stop you and ask a follow-up question, because these guys are in the effing NFL. They got there because they know how to tackle. So I want to throw it to you, Coach, because everything that I've always in Pop Warner and everything that we've coached, tackling is about being in the right place and doing it, and just having that desire and that will to commit and making the tackle. So many of our missed tackles this year, we were there, but we saw bad technique or laziness or just guys being scared. So I'm going to throw it to you, Coach. When you see that type of tackling, does that not come across as players just not wanting it enough and being lazy? Because that's what tackling is, right?
That's exactly what it is. Tackling, I always tell our players, tackling is a mindset. Tackling is a mindset. You know, it is something that it's an attitude, it's a mindset, it's a state of being in your, you know, that you are going to go out and punish the opponent. And we just don't see that with our guys, right? We see two-hand touch. We see guys trying to push guys out of bounds. We don't have those dogs, right? We don't have those guys that are flying around. You know, I watched that Texans Steelers game last night, and I'm going to tell you right now, that Texans defense is the best tackling defense I have probably seen in the NFL in the last decade. Again, if you turn on that film, that Texans Steelers game, and you turned on any one of our games and you tried to compare, it wouldn't even be close. We don't have guys flying around the football like that. We just don't. And that's a mindset. And again, we can sit here and make fun of, like I was just doing, learn how to tackle. It starts with coaching. It starts with implementing that mindset as a coach. And, it's one thing if, weeks 1 through 5, they're struggling, right? Tackling. Guys, they were the worst tackling team for 17 games. They were atrocious. They were NFL historically bad at tackling this year. And you're right, Eric. That's a mindset. That's a mindset that's instilled in your brain when you start playing tackle football. That's the first thing that is instilled in your mind. And it does. There were so many times when our players looked like they could give two shits about making contact with anybody. And that's a problem. That's a problem. Al Golden can draw. He might be the best defensive mind. He might be able to draw up the best defensive schemes to stop people. But if it doesn't start with those guys having a mindset of being true tacklers, it doesn't mean shit. And that's what we saw this year. And that is why this defensive coaching staff has got to take a lot of the blame. The players have to make plays, but guys, it starts with the coaching. It does. Coaching matters.
Let's transition to our next question. That puts us right in there. I will add that was one of Vontaze Burfict's big things. He loved to tackle. And yes, he did a lot of extracurriculars, but that man loved to tackle. That's why he made the team, and that's why he made an impact on the team. Transitioning to right what you're saying, what can our coaches do to improve this team? Mon, let's go to you first. Give us something the coaches can do.
They need to continue getting the team ready to play out the gate. Joe Burrow was injured week 2, but he played 6 of the first 8 quarters of the NFL season. The team looked terrible. I mean, say what you want. We won that first game against the Browns because the guy missed a field goal for the Browns. We should have been 0-1. And people don't like hearing that, but that's a fact. They looked terrible. I'm not giving that win back. I'll take it. They weren't ready to play out the gate again. Everything he did during training camp, those guys look sluggish. They're getting punched in the mouth. The coaches need to get this team ready. Listen, it's up on the coaches. The coaches got to find the players. We need that mental and physical toughness. Jake, you mentioned it perfectly a few minutes ago. It's on those coaches. They're the ones. Install some practice habits. Demand more from your players. Have a more physical camp. We need physicality. We need mental toughness. My dog agrees. We need that stuff, okay? We need mental toughness, physical toughness, and that starts with attitude from your coaching staff. I don't know if Potsy Weber, I don't know if Ned Flanders, that's our head coach, that's freaking Zach Taylor. I don't know if he's capable of doing that, but maybe somebody else on that coaching staff can do that.
I don't know if anybody knows who Potsy is. That might be
True. That's true.
I don't know if the internet even knows who Potsy is. What did you say, Potsy Weber?
Potsy was cool. He was a cool nerd.
Listen, let me say this. Is First of all, Mon is 100% right. But let me say this, that this when I hear coaches come out and say things like this roster is good enough to win and be a championship team, they're basically calling themselves out, right? If you're saying you have the players to win a championship and you win 6 games, the coaching is not good. And I want to say this. This is what I think the coaches have to do better. It's a little bit off of what Mon said, but the coaches, there is no one being held accountable for poor play. There were 2 people this year that was held accountable. One of them was our defensive captain and one of the only true leaders left in the locker room, and we traded him for a 7th-round pick. Now, yes, he didn't play for the Cowboys, and he was definitely on the decline, but he was sure as a hell a lot better than Barrett Carter. Logan Wilson, number one, was the one person held accountable. The other person held accountable was Chase Brown for calling out our shitty defense. You know who wasn't held accountable? Geno Stone. Geno Stone was the worst player on the field in every single Bengal game this year. Even when we played the Jets, he was the worst player on the field. Geno Stone in every single 17 games that the Bengals lined up against whoever the hell it was, Geno Stone was the worst player on the field, and it wasn't even close. And what did we hear every week from Al Golden? Geno Stone is so good, and we would be lost without Geno Stone. I mean, as a coach, I just can't even imagine. I can't imagine not holding a player like Geno Stone accountable for being that shitty. He never got benched. He was never called out. There was no emphasis put on his poor play all year. That's what's got to change. That's what's got to change is these coaches growing a sack and starting holding players accountable. Being, like Mon said, be leaders, coaches. Be leaders. We don't have any of those. We don't
reward bad play. Don't reward bad play.
Yeah, don't reward bad play. We have 2 coaches to me that excelled this season. I think Troy Walters, again, I think he is the most talented coach on this coaching staff, and I'm not even sure it's close. And I do think Scott Peters. I think you have to say that he did a hell of a job this year because he really did. The offensive line play was top 10 in the NFL when the season ended. But besides those 2, I'm not sure there's another coach on this roster right now that you feel good about. I just don't think there is. I really don't. And I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm not trying to bash and do all those things. I'm just stating fact that besides Walters and Peters, I'm not sure there's another coach on this staff that would have a job in the NFL.
I think you got to give it to Jerry Montgomery. He did turn around and develop Miles Murphy. I would say that he would. Miles Murphy was nothing until he got Jerry Montgomery. So either Miles Murphy took so long to percolate, or Jerry Montgomery finally got something out of him. We got to move on here. We're getting so close to our time. I just want to put one last thing: what our coaches can do better, because they got to do this. All of your work comes all week long. It comes during training camp. It comes during pregame. It comes during lead up. Once you get to game time, there is nothing you can do. And I've seen so many times these coaches talk about these guys are pros. They know how to motivate themselves. F that. You need to be a leader of men on game day. Sometimes these guys may get paid $8 million and you don't think that you need to motivate them. But you know what? If you got $8 million in the bank, you probably do need some motivation, because you know what? You don't need to go out there and scrounge for change to get the milk. I need them to be leaders of men on game day. Get up in people's face. Be accountable. That goes for Zach Taylor. That goes for Al Golden. That goes for any coach. Don't be so deep into your playbook that you can't turn around to T. Higgins and say, "Why the hell didn't you catch that ball?" Hold him accountable during the game. That's what good coaches do. That's what takes you from a 6-win team to an 11-win team. And that is controllable. That doesn't take talent. That just needs them to look guys in the eyes and say, "Let's do it. Come on." That's my soapbox. Sorry.
Hey, let me say this real quick. Iron Man, that's who I was talking about. Troy Walters is the receivers coach for the Bengals. I just wanted to throw that out there, Iron Man. That's who I was talking about is Troy Walters, the wide receivers coach for the Bengals. I think he's the best coach on the coaching staff. Go ahead, Eric. Sorry.
Okay. Question. This is kind of most people's answer is this, but outside of fire them all, what can the front office do to improve?
Oh man, this is tough.
I mentioned it at number 2. I covered, what went wrong with the Bengals. It was the front office, and I pretty much covered it. They can't take free agency off.
No,
They can't do it. They got to go out. They got to be aggressive. They got to sign players. They can't have the Walmart mentality. They can't be afraid to spend money. They got to put some guaranteed money in future years. They got to go out and get good players. And I'm telling you, teams go out and they do it. Doesn't work sometimes. Sometimes it does. You can't be afraid of that. You can't be afraid of it. And I want our fan base to understand something. Stop with the Walmart mentality. Stop it. This team has money to spend. And we just, I know we have limited voices. We can't make them spend. But at the same time, man, in March, if they don't come out and start signing good players, I'm not talking bums, I'm talking good players, I'm gonna crash out City on here. I'm gonna freaking lose my shit. So that's what they need to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think the two things the front office needs to do is one, obviously, like Mon said, we can't take free agency off. The drafting, the developing, it's taking too long. We're not good at it. We're not good at drafting. I think. What do you say?
No, he said somebody better cafeteria food. I'm like, yeah.
Oh yeah, better cafeteria food. Yeah, I think free agency. I think the Bengals need to go out and sign 4 starters on the defense in free agency. 4 guys that are proven commodities that can change this defense overnight. And I think the second thing is obviously, and to me, it's the most important thing, even more important than free agency, is the Bengals have got to hit this draft. We say it every year, and they don't do it. The 23 draft is starting to shape up to look pretty good, right? The 23 draft starting to look pretty good. Every other draft, and I don't want to hear about the Joe Burrow draft. That was a lottery ticket. That was a layup. Besides that draft, they have not done shit in the Joe Burrow since Joe Burrow has joined this football team. The Bengals have got to hit a home run with this draft. They have got to stop drafting guys because of what they do at the combine and start drafting guys because what they do at a very high level in college. They have got to start looking at production over what could possibly be there because some guy is 6'7" and runs a good 40. Who gives a shit? Guys, I have coached for 25 plus years. I've seen guys out there at all levels that win the eye test. They walk out, they run great, they do all these things, but they get on the football field and they don't produce. The Bengals strike out. They did it with John Ross, Shamar Stewart. I mean, I could sit here and just list and list and list.
How can you say Shamar Stewart? Seriously.
Because the Bengals drafted him this year to make an impact on this team this year. That's why. Because the Bengals went out and said, we need somebody opposite of Trey Hendrickson. We're going Shamar Stewart. That's why. Do I think Shamar Stewart in three years from now might be a good player? Yes, he might. We needed Shamar Stewart this year to be a great player. Not in 3 years from now. That's what my point is.
Okay, that's fine. I agree. He's been a disappointment this year.
Yeah.
But Miles Murphy, people are saying he was a disappointment. I think he's the future. I mean,
but we weren't counting at the time when we drafted Miles Murphy, Mon. We weren't counting on him to step in and be the dude right away. The Bengals were counting on Shamar Stewart stepping in this year and being the dude. And the moment they drafted him, it became a shit show. He bitched about
real quick. I mean, I just want to, like, somebody, G. Will, who I follow on Twitter and on Spaces, brought up a great point. The 1998 Cincinnati Bengals started two rookie linebackers, and a third one played a lot. Another rookie, Steve Foley was his name. Brian Simmons, Takeo Spikes started. Steve Foley played a lot that year. He was another rookie. Worst rush defense in football. Terrible defense. They were terrible. They all turned out to be really good players. And I'm thinking, like, you know what, Demetrius Knight, Carter, Stewart, man, I think in a couple years we could come back and say, hey, man, that was a hell of a draft.
Mon, I don't disagree with that. That's not what my point is. This is what my point is. My point is that the Bengals drafted those guys to make an impact right away. That's what my point is, right? The Bengals drafted Demetrius Knight and Barrett Carter and Shamar Stewart. In 98, Mon, we didn't have Joe Burrow and Jamar. We didn't have that, right? The Bengals were rebuilding. They were trying to put the 90s behind them, and they were trying to go into the next decade rebuilding this team. Mon, this year, they drafted those three guys to play right away and impact this roster. And because of that, is the reason why we are talking offseason right now and not talking about the Bengals in the playoffs, because of that right there. And that's what my point is. Not that they might not be good in 3 years. My point is they were supposed to be good this year because the front office was counting on that. That's what my point is.
That's on the front office. Yeah, you're right. It's not realistic, and it's silly the front office thought that.
The biggest thing with Stewart that they did was what Mon is always talking about. They drafted to replace Trey Hendrickson next year. They had Trey Hendrickson, they had Osai, they had Cedric Johnson, they had Miles Murphy. They drafted these guys. They drafted a guy that could be a stud at a position of depth, who right when he gets drafted, he's not going to get a starting spot. Meanwhile, they identified a linebacker as one of their biggest needs. They passed on Jihad Campbell, the best linebacker in this draft. He could have been plug and play immediately. You still could have gotten Demetrius Knight or Barrett Carter alongside of him. They also passed on Malachi Starks. Huge position of need. If you plug Jihad Campbell or Malachi Starks into the Bengals defense last year, we probably win the AFC North, because those positions affected us so bad so early on. If we had those guys that could have come in there, they would have made impacts. We wouldn't have missed tackles. We wouldn't have had those impact plays that got us where we were. So
that's my point is the Bengals we cannot have another dud draft. We have got to hit on this draft. Mon, you talk about it all the time on this podcast. There, you look around the NFL, and there are rookies impacting every single team in the NFL. Big impact players. The Bengals don't have one. They don't have one. Amarius Mims impacted us this year. Amarius Mims impacted us this year. He played great. I will say it now. I was wrong about Amarius Mims. I'm glad they drafted him. But we don't have those guys, Mon. We don't have those guys. We don't have a verse where we're like, man, that guy walks right onto the field and completely makes an impact for his football team. We don't have those guys.
One last thing. I know I'm jumping way ahead. Next, we're going to do a lot of draft episodes. Don't be surprised if they draft the tackle to replace Orlando Brown the next year. Okay, go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, we don't have much more. I think they got to get away from replacing guys a year early. You have too many holes on this team. You got to fill them in free agency and double dip in the draft. We don't have time to worry about 2027. We need to get guys that can impact 2026. And yeah, that's all.
Let
It's
me
going to
let me
be
ask you. Let me ask you. I know we got to wrap. Let me ask you this real quick, Mamas. I'm going to ask you. What about, we didn't even talk about this, but what about the Bengals actually this year, this offseason, going up to a DJ Turner and saying, hey, dude, we want you to be a Bengal. Let's get something done. Let's get an extension done early so we're not pissing around when the time comes. What about that? I mean, don't you think that's part of this front office improving is those them going out and re-signing guys like DJ Turner early on so they're not
Yeah,
pissing those opportunities away?
absolutely. I mean, they completed their third year. They're eligible for contract extensions, but I don't want it to be the Bengal way to go out and give them a low ball offer that insults them. That's why Jesse Bates is in here. They negotiated with Jesse Bates for over 2 years. Everybody only remembers the last year. No, they tried to sign him early, but it wasn't even close.
Yeah.
And same thing with T. Higgins. They worked that out. Don't insult these guys. Make them fair offers. Miles Murphy, DJ Turner, Dax Hill. I try to sign all three of those guys now.
I agree.
That's going to help you in 2027 and 2028.
and
Hey,
and that'll be the okay, yeah, that'll be the biggest evidence to me if this front office is in doing stuff to improve. The biggest thing is Dalton Reisner needs to be extended right now. Joe Flacco needs to be brought back very soon if possible. DJ Turner needs to be in negotiations. If we hear that he's in negotiations, that's the biggest thing. I know it could take a while, but we should hear that they're in negotiations with DJ Turner on extension and Dax Hill on an extension. Another super chat you said before we get out of here. Where we got? Yeah, 513 Art Dog. Xavier Watts was sitting right there.
That was a fumble, man. That was a certified fumble right there.
Listen,
They fumbled everywhere.
Again, guys, you know I don't like to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty sure in 90% of my mocks, I took Xavier Watts.
Of course you
Every
did.
Bengals fan did.
I mean, he was literally a layup. He played for you, Al Golden, you moron. He played for you, you moron.
All right. Last comment before we get out of here, but somebody does have a question for you. Thank you for the super chat, Xavier Watts. I think the biggest thing the Bengals front office needs to do is stop going after and falling in love with guys just because of what they did to you on the field. They went out there and got Geno Stone because he picked off Joe Burrow. We got Sheldon Rankins because he sacked Joe Burrow 4 times. The Bengals need to get that out of their effing heads, do some real scouting, go out there and get good candidate guys, not just because they did stuff to you. Get some guys based on their body of work against the whole league. One other question before we get out of here. We didn't talk much of the games. But Jake, you got any parting shots at Aaron Rodgers? He could be the first quarterback in NFL history to throw a pick six on his final play in the league. What do you think?
I think it's perfect ending to an absolute clown show of a career. And let me say this about Aaron Rodgers. He is going to go down as one of the best. He is going to go down as one of the best. But they were pulling up his his legacy the other day, and he's got all the numbers, he's got all those things. But man, I'll tell you what, boys, he didn't win a lot of championships. And you can say whatever you want to about Aaron Rodgers. And again, like I said, statistically, he is the Dan Marino of our time. But man, oh man, he didn't win a lot, guys. He did not win a lot. That's all I'm going to say about Aaron Rodgers. I hope he has fun, in his igloo, wherever he's going to be, go find your animal spirit and all that other crazy shit. And good luck to you, Aaron Rodgers. I'm glad you went out with a loss.
I hope he's going to move to Florida. He's going to be Jake's neighbor.
I'm not going to miss him. I'm not going to miss him at all. I'll tell you what. I tell you a fun team to watch. The Bears. I'm going to tell you that's a fun football team to watch. I love that tight end Loveland. He is going to be
what a home run. You talk about a home run pick. You talk about home run because remember, I'll tell you, my buddy Ocho is a huge Bears fan, and when they picked Loveland over what was the Penn State tight end?
Warren.
Tyler Warren. When they picked Loveland, I mean, I gave Ocho so much shit about that, and now I'm eating crow because man, oh man, I'm gonna tell you right now, Loveland might be. Well, I think he is the offensive rookie of the year. That dude literally took over that football game. And I will say this, I told my buddy this. I thought Ben Johnson I thought he got completely outcoached. I thought he was awful. But you know who didn't get outcoached? Dennis Allen. The Bears defensive coordinator came out that second half with an adjustment, and they absolutely shut down the Green Bay Packers. Dennis Allen saved Ben Johnson's ass for making the most dumbass playoff call in the history going forward on his own 32. They should have lost the football game if it wasn't for Loveland and Dennis Allen. But yes.
Yeah, and that was Mon's guy. Mon wanted him on the Bengals. Bengals should have listened to the Pulse, should have got him out there. I want real quick because Mon's rooting interest. He said going forward, I'm rooting for the Jags and the Packers. They're both gone. Mon, who you rooting for the rest of the way? Can you do some reverse psychology and get him out of there?
I'm going to root for the Rams, guys.
Yes. That means the Rams are gone. Who else is getting eliminated? Who else? Just the Rams or the Rams or who?
Hey,
he is not nice to you, Mon.
Listen, he jumped over the Colts for 7-1 when he went to the Colts Pulse, and they took a shit when he showed up.
Ow. No. They took a crap when I came back. That's the problem.
Are we going to pick this week? Because let me just say
we don't have time, guys. We're already an hour and 11 minutes.
And Mon says we're rambling. But listen, let me say this real quick. Again, I don't like toot my own horn. I only missed one game last week, one playoff game, because Justin Herbert, who is the most overrated player in the NFL, once again shit the bed. Don't ever put Justin Herbert's name close to Joe Burrow's ever again. That's the only game I lost was Justin Herbert and the Chargers.
I don't think I won one game. All my takes sucked. I get it, but hey, it is what it is. I'm going to keep on trying. I'm going to tell you something right now. I'll just say this: Broncos going to beat the shit out of the Bills. I don't know what it is.
Broncos are gone.
I can't stand those. Okay, I want the Bills to win. Let's go, Josh Allen, Mr. Hallmark movie. Let's make a movie with the Bills in it. The NFL wants the Bills to win so bad. They will do. I'm telling you right now, the cooking is in. They want the Bills to win. I don't know what it is about that organization, but I'm really starting to. Their fans are salty. They talk so much shit. I want the Bills to lose. Come at me, Bills fans. Come at me.
Broncos, Seahawks, the 2-1 seeds. Traveling across the country. Yeah, I got Broncos Seahawks in the Super Bowl. I'm just saying it. I hope the Seahawks, and I actually hope the Seahawks win it. That's who I'm rooting for, is the Seahawks. But I think Broncos Seahawks. I'm with Mon. I think the Broncos take care of business against the Bills. I think the Rams beat the Bears, and I think it's Rams Seahawks. And I think it is
must watch.
And I'm going to tell you right now. I think it's Broncos Texans, and I think the Broncos and Seahawks go to the Super Bowl. That Texans defense is one of the best defenses I have watched in a very long time. All right, guys. As always, if you like this podcast, make sure you like, share, subscribe to this podcast. Make sure you give us that 5-star review. We very much appreciate that. Check us out on all the awesome podcast platforms, Apple, Stitcher, Spotify. As always, follow Mon on Twitter at @TheFireMon. Follow me on Twitter at CoachJakeOwens9. Follow Eric on Twitter at eFlash with 2 H's 88. Follow Cincinnati Podcast Network on Twitter Follow the Bengals Pulse on Twitter. Please, 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 at the Bengals Pulse. On Instagram and TikTok, the same without the at the Bengals Pulse. And as always, guys, check out all the awesome podcasts right here on the Cincinnati Podcast Network. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We truly appreciate you guys. We love you. We'll be back here next week talking Bengals. We are in off-season mode. He is Mon, Eric. I am Jake. This is the Bengals Pulse. Hoo day, Bengal fans. We'll see you next week.